Hello, hello, good evening everyone. Welcome to another The Accent Show. This evening we are having a very special guest. His name is Alexander Demetrius from the United States, and we're gonna have a nice chat, and I'm gonna invite him in. Hello, Alex. I'm just trying to remember again because I always forget how to invite people for the live. How can this possibly happen when I do that every week? Just 1 second. Okay.
Aloha.
Hello, aloha. How are you?
Oh, I'm terrific. And you?
I'm not too bad. It was a busy week. I'm tired today, but I'm happy that you're here. Thank you for
Oh,
some time.
my
For
pleasure.
It's good to have you. Thank you so much. And let me just see. Can you hear me well and everything?
Oh, yeah, you're coming in loud and clear.
Okay. Great. How are you?
You know what? It's really good to see you again. You kind of gave me a start and a sense of family when I was traveling, and I really needed that. So, uh, thank you very much. I had
Very
no
happy.
idea I was going to be emotional like that, but yeah, I really appreciate your beautiful family and what you're doing. You're amazing people.
Thank
I'm
you so
glad to know you.
much. And I'm very happy that we were part of your history here in Ireland and that we left some good memories with you.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to talk about your life because your life's so exciting and you've been doing so much. You're a book writer, you've been everywhere around the globe, almost. And
Almost.
so tell us everything about you. You can start introducing yourself, where you're from, where have you been, and where you are.
Sure. So aloha, everyone. First of all, in Hawaii, aloha is not goodbye. Um, it's hello, but it's also goodbye. But instead of goodbye, it's more like until we see you again. Because in Hawaii, there's never a disconnection between uh, one another. On the island, everybody is, here's a good Hawaiian word, ohana, which means family. So, a long story less boring. My name is Alexander Demetrius, and I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and I've started traveling at the age of 26 when I decided to uh, take a chance on myself and see what it was like to perhaps have a career in Hollywood. And after many years of pursuing that and seeing, wow, I think I should pursue something else because everybody else in LA wants to be what I want. Um, that's when I opened myself up to traveling not only throughout America but throughout the world. And in that time, I wrote a book called The Reward of Not Knowing, and it's a memoir. A memoir is a good English word. It means it's a style of book or a style of reading that is like your memories, memoir, your memories of growing up. Yes! Oh, thank you for that plug, Diane. And so it is my memories of what it was like to grow up with a mother who suffered from multiple personality disorder. And that is an illness where someone literally has a split of their personality in two, three, four, five different personalities. And I was very close to her. And it was a challenge growing up with her. But in the end, I think all sons and all children love their parents just as much as their parents love them. And I'm so proud to know that I dedicated the majority of my life to helping her, to being good to her, to uh, to really show her how much I appreciated her being my mother. And she passed away, I think, a year ago, maybe two. Time flies by so quickly lately. And but it's funny. I really do feel at ease with that. I don't know if anyone in your audience believes in signs from the universe, but I continually have signs that mean personally to me that she's watching. And so I also enjoy, which is a good segue into what I enjoy writing, which is about philosophy. I'm a storyteller, so I take my life experiences that have taught me a lot, and not always in the easiest way, and I share them because inside every story is a little golden nugget, and I give people the clues on how to find that little golden nugget in their own life. If I've had a lesson where somebody wronged me, I share with the audience how, in a way, I was also responsible for that, and I like to help people grow. I see somebody who's online right now who's I'd like to give a shout out to. Her name is Valerie, and when I left Hollywood, I was not. I didn't have a lot of money. In fact, I slept in my car. I slept in apartment buildings that were being remodeled, but nobody was in them. It's an interesting thing when I travel the world and I meet people and I tell them I'm from America, and many people have an idea of how wonderful America is, and it really is. I'm very blessed to be a citizen here. And at the same time, like all other countries, there are challenges to living in every country. And my challenge was, how do I travel the world and how do I make a living? And when you're spending most of your life taking care of a parent, your life is not about you. It's about responsibility. And so I really wanted to be responsible for myself. And that meant if I was ever wrong to someone, learning how to apologize. If I was ever rude, learning how to be kinder. If I misjudged or prejudged, learning how not to judge a book by its cover. And so all the stories that I write and I share on my Instagram stories are my own personal experiences and the lessons that I took from them. Speaking of lessons, it's funny that you're teaching English because my mother's first language was Spanish. And this is something that's very common for a lot of Latinos in America. We don't grow up speaking our native tongue, even though our parents speak it. So I'm having to, at the age of 46, start to learn Spanish using Duolingo, and I'm very proud of that. And the way I started to learn Spanish was learning German. I'd never known a second language before. And though my mother was always like, you need to learn Spanish, you need to learn Spanish. For some reason, in my travels, I was in another country. All everybody spoke was German. And so I was in a way forced to do it. And it was so wonderful starting to study. I literally had a headache from all the new information, all the new connections that were happening in my brain to make me think in a wider, broader way. And now when I speak German to myself or to somebody else, and I understand, or I see a movie and I understand what's being said, it's such an amazing feeling. And I would encourage everyone to always know a second or a third or a fourth language, because what it does for your mind and your relationships in the world, it really expands your ability to communicate with more people, to have more circumstances, more opportunities. And I'm someone who, I'm lucky. And what luck to me is when opportunity and preparation meet. And I've had a lot of preparation in my life, and it has not been easy. I grew up on the, you might say, lower income or poor side of the American dream. But that's the beautiful thing about America, is you can come from that and find yourself one day on the top. And I can tell you from my personal experience, when you knew me, I had no money, but I was following a dream to travel the world. And somehow when you follow your dreams, when you follow the things that truly make you happy, doors will open where none had been before. And you know, Diane, your door opened for me where there was not a door before. And through that, I made a wonderful friendship with your parents, your husband, your child at the time. You only had one. And
Revealed.
come again?
Secret revealed. I had
Oh yeah. Well, it shouldn't be a secret anymore. Anything that I can do to help anybody, because I know that the world is hurting right now. I know that my life is, for a change, going pretty great. But that's after years of it not going great. And what I've taught myself is that life is always working for me, not against me. And so there are times when I have been hungry. I've been thinking, what am I going to do for a job? But what always kept me moving higher and higher was thinking, okay, if I really want to have more success, if I really want to have more peace, what are peaceful people reading and doing and thinking about? What are successful people reading and doing and thinking about? And I started looking for people in society, no matter what the country, whose life I wanted to mirror, you know, imitate. And I really started finding people, even if I didn't know them. You can watch YouTube videos. There's so much information available to us today. It's incredible. And I am taking my own opportunity to help the way you're helping all of your followers get this practice, hear my voice. And just like when I was listening to German, I didn't understand every single word, but I could follow along because that person had connection, had passion. They were there with me, you know, eye contact, everything. Because there are some things that go beyond language, but for everything else, there's language. So I love that I'm Chichio. Am I saying that right?
Chichiyu. Yeah.
Yeah, in your household, and it's just wonderful. Yeah. What else would you like to know about?
Well, you did mention there about being wired with the language, and that reminded me of a situation that it wasn't really a situation, but I was trying to watch a movie in English when I first came here, the first few weeks, and it was all in English. There was no subtitles, and I started crying because I couldn't understand anything. And it's very frustrating when but that's the thing. You have to be wired by the language. It's the easiest way. And that brings me into the fact that you've been to different places, living in many different countries. Have you been through any difficult situation because you didn't speak English and you didn't speak German as much?
Oh yeah, I ran into that situation not only because I didn't speak it, but because I wasn't German, or I wasn't Irish, or I wasn't Austrian. When I was traveling, every time I went to customs, there was one time when I was growing up that I heard, if you have an American passport, you're welcome all over the world. And I couldn't wait to go out into the world. But by the time I did, I was 43. So America's relationship with the world had changed a little bit, and I didn't know that. So when I came out there, I was stopped at every border. I was questioned all the time. And you know what it made me really appreciate is so many people come to America and looking for an opportunity, and they're going through all the same things, maybe even worse or harder, that I went through all these immigration offices that I had to go through. And I've always wanted people to succeed. And I do love when foreigners come to this country, of course, my country is nothing but foreigners. No matter, indigenous Indian people were here, not from India, but how would you describe that?
In Brazil. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
They were here long before us, and so for me, I've always had this concept that I never really liked borders, especially with all the challenges I went through in Germany and Ireland, Portugal, etc. I always see the planet as one home, one family, where there are no divisions, where we're all brothers and sisters on the same earth, having the same hopes, the same fears. And it's funny looking at the world and all the kind of chaos that even my own country is going through right now, and relating it to my own life. Because in order for me to evolve and grow, things had to start falling apart in my life. And that's not a bad sign. That just means all the things that are not going to take you to where you want to go have to go. They cannot be a part of your life. And so every time I see things falling apart, I think, wow, I can hardly wait to see the good that's going to come from this. And I've done that so many times that now in my life, I'm looking at it and just, it's like a little ladder. Just things keep going up and up and up. It's almost mysterious, because before this, things always kept going down and down and down. And I now see through experience the role I had to play in my own down, 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 and now up, up, up. And so, did I answer your question?
Good. And also, you did talk about something that you were talking in your store, in your Instagram the other day. You told us about a story that you lived in Italy when you were
Yes.
the guys, and you did mention something about not to judge the book by the cover. Can you tell us this experience?
Yes, I was traveling with these young Brazilian gentlemen. They're fantastic, and we decided to go to Rome, Italy, or not to Rome, Italy specifically, but just Italy, and then take a car and travel all up and down the coast. And we even slept in the car because none of us could afford a hostel every night. So we land in Rome and we're looking for a place to park for the night. And while we're traveling through the back alleys and the streets, we see this gentleman who's entirely in black come out of the shadows. Like one moment he wasn't there and the next he was. And he guided us. He gave us a signal to come, and he pointed to a spot that we would have missed had he not helped us. So we parked in the spot and we got out of the car to thank him. And he said, "You don't need to thank me. You just need to pay me a couple of euros." That's my best Albanian accent. I don't even know what the accent is like. But anyway, and it wasn't unreasonable. But I felt, how dare this guy? He doesn't work for Italy. He's not a parking lot attendant. But he did help us out. And what he did, he didn't look like he was important. When he smiled, he hardly had any teeth in his mouth, but he had a sincerity in his smile. And I was very like, what are you up to? I had my antennas up and my guard up, and I don't like being taken advantage of. I'm sure like many people don't. But this person was not trying to take advantage. He just saw an opportunity to help somebody else while helping himself at the same time. And there's nothing wrong with that. And the nicer he was to me, even though I had my arms folded and a bit of an attitude, the nicer I could not help myself but return kindness to him. And it reminded me of Newton's third law of physics, which is for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, because we're all energy. And so if you're sending out a strong energy where you're ready to battle, well, that's what you're going to get back. But if you run into, and I think of this man as an angel, somebody who sees your aggression and says, that's okay, I'm going to give love anyway. And he started asking me where I was from, and he could speak my language. He has been to my hometown of San Antonio, as well as other places in my own country. This man who just was only asking for so little was giving me his kindness, his help, and all he wanted was just a few euros. And it completely shifted my prejudging of him, and I saw another human being, and one that was infinitely kinder, had compassion, and he seemed like he just kind of lived on the street, and I could relate to that. So only I wasn't always kind and compassionate. I was always angry, and why is this happening to me? And here's this man, no teeth, older. His only impulse was just to be kind to me. And he really had the power, or used that power, whether he knew it or not, to turn me from hate to love. And I've had countless experiences in traveling, in whether the border patrol wanted me there or not. The people in the actual countries of Austria, Germany, Ireland, Portugal, Amsterdam, where else have I been? Have always just treated me with so much love and compassion. And I felt like that's something I'd like to see more of in my own country. America is wonderful for creating wealth and money, but sometimes you lose your humanity. And that's something that I'm grateful for, actually growing up poor, because it taught me that I have to work hard, that nobody owes me anything. And then what being in Europe and Ireland and other places has also taught me is that as an American, this is a good word to be the opposite of it, I was so entitled. What entitled means is when you act and think and feel that the world owes you something. And I think maybe that's just how we're raised as Americans. We don't see the suffering that happens in other parts of the world. We're almost disconnected from it. So all the problems we have are small to people from other countries, but to us, they're huge. And it wasn't until I left my own country and went to other countries and then saw myself as an American, not in my own country, and saw how I talked to people, how I sounded, and then especially when I met other Americans, and I was like, oh my God, is that what we're like? But I could accept that because it was helping me grow. Sure, I was entitled then, but I'm not now. And I can forgive myself for being that way, because there was an opportunity, thanks to many people, including yourself, who showed me compassion and kindness. And it's been really wonderful. If anybody wants to know the true value of travel, I mean, it's different for everyone, but for me, it really opens your heart and allows more in, and also allows more to flow out. So.
But that's what you give as well. You give a lot of love, and you're a very loving person. You're friends with everyone, and I think that's why you're getting back the good side of it now from Destiny, and
Yeah,
being good for you. And I'm very happy for you because of that. I want to say thank you here to everyone here on. Let me see what people are saying.
yeah. The
Every
thing you said.
up there, every saying that thank you, no matter what happens, never stop. With this project, it's really awesome. Many thanks. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Waited. You would, because you would.
I like this comment in particular by the handle is Eber_Betul. I forgive me if I mispronounced that. The thing that you said is very serious. Somehow when you start to follow your dreams, doors are open. And I'm so glad somebody else sees that out there. And yeah, Wonderful. This is so exciting. We have to have all of these people on there, and for anybody who has missed this, I'm so glad that they can watch it on the replay. Where are your guests from, by the way? I'm very curious.
Alexandre is Brazilian. I don't know most of them, but some of them are from Ireland, some are from Brazil. Who else? Yeah, I think most of them are from Brazil, and that's great. It's a great opportunity, and I'm so happy as well that I'm having the opportunity to have guests here and share your accent, anyone else's, and all different accents possible here in the channel. Anyone here in the channel is looking to learn more different languages, English or any other language, and I'm so happy that you made the time. And what time is there now in Hawaii?
9:35 in the morning.
You're about to start your Friday. Happy Friday.
Thank you.
Yes. What I was going to say, I don't want to hold you for too long as well. Our time is up. Does anyone have any questions for Alex? Do you want to say anything else about the book, or how can people get your book? How can they buy it?
Yes, my book is available on Amazon. It's called The Reward of Not Knowing. I'll put it in the comments. And the subtitle is called A Hero's Inward Journey. So this is something I would love to share, an idea from the book that I think it would be important to the audience is, if you want to see the outside world change, take a journey inside yourself, inside your thoughts, inside your feelings, and start changing that world. And like magic, the outside world will automatically start changing too. But if you try and move the outside world and push your way through, and that's necessary too. But I'm telling you from experience, I've struggled most of my life. And right now, ever since I've taken myself away from distractions, I'm almost living like a hermit. A hermit is a good American word. It means someone who lives closed off, almost in solitude. Another good word, solitude, soledad, alone. Not meaning alone, but I don't go out to parties. I don't do any of that world beef anymore, because I'm spending time getting to know myself and also being of service to other people. Every chance, the work that I do right now for income is I'm being of service. And I learned how to do that as a young boy. My mother was a single mother, so she raised me without the help of my father. And so I had the opportunity to learn how to cut grass, to do carpenter work, to wash dishes, to sew buttons on my own shirts. And all of that is just really good preparation. And sometimes I lose my train of thought, but yeah, that's the idea. I just want to change the inside, and the outside will follow.
Yeah, and I think a good way to know yourself, to really know yourself, is being true what you've been through, putting yourself in difficult situations when you're alone and when you're away from home. And I think that's when you really find out who you are as well. And
Yeah.
being through a tough time, tough times make tough people.
Yes. Amen. It's funny. I grew up in Texas, where it doesn't really snow ever, because it's so hot, at least in San Antonio. And
Texas one day.
oh yeah, yeah. And so when I was in Ireland and it snowed, I literally turned into a little kid because I could not believe it was snowing. That was such an amazing experience. I'm telling all of you that as an American and as a human and as a male and as the things that we think we're supposed to be following in life, I've gotten so much joy out of the simplest things in life. And now that I'm starting to earn money and my life is moving in a different direction, I realize that can still come and go, but it's all those tender moments, all those special, authentic, that's a good word, authentic, real moments that will stay with me forever, whether I have money or not. And I'm even running into people who are teaching me about money. So if you can find a book, I made a friend, he's from Mexico, very successful gentleman. I recently had the honor of meeting, and he wrote a book. And you can go to Amazon or bookstores and find books this thick, you know, of all of how to make money and whatnot. This guy's book is this thick, but in it, he puts the principles that really matter. And he wrote it himself. And so it's called How to Buy $1 Million by Greco Garcia. And it's in Spanish. It's the original language, but it's been translated to many languages. And in that, I'm learning so many things that when I learn them, I think, no wonder I've been broke or poor my whole life. And it's really amazing how winning the lottery, you know, some people can buy a ticket and play the lottery and win. That's one way of winning the lottery. But another form of winning the lottery is the people you meet. And I've been winning multiple lotteries in the kind of people that I'm meeting, because they're not giving me money, they're giving me knowledge. And that knowledge will eventually turn into money or abundance or wealth. But he, like me, also wants to help people rise up. Just because things are going well for me does not mean my mind is not on how hard it is for other people. And I really feel as humanity, we have a chance to work together, to come closer, instead of seeing how people divide us, but seeing the things we have in common. I have a heart that pumps blood through my body. You have a heart, and everyone has a heart that pumps the same blood through our body, and the same body of water that feeds the entire planet, that we are all on this tiny little blue bubble in space. Yes, if your audience wants to learn about money and how to start making it, saving for it, thinking about it, that would be a very good book. How to Buy $1 Million. I don't have a copy of it in front of me, but Greco Garcia, yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to hold you for too long.
Sure.
I think you have great stories in your channel, so if anyone is looking to hear more about your stories, go follow Alex. And what else? I'm just so happy that you came today. Thank you so much. It is
my pleasure.
Again, after so long. And you're a great person. That's why you're getting back everything that you gave out to the world already. So I'm happy for you. Thank you so much for coming today. And that's it.
Okay, terrific. Well, another Hawaiian word is mahalo, which is thank you. And you know, the word aloha is actually the breath of life. It's a, which is the in-breath, and lo is when you take it inside your body, and ha is the sending back that breath of life out again. And when people started telling me aloha when I first came to Hawaii many years ago, for the first time ever, there was something in that word that felt like, wow, this person really is connecting with me. And I lived in Los Angeles before Hawaii. And if you ever want to know what it's like to have a whole city not care about you, move to LA. Because
I was actually watching a few videos, from YouTube, from normal people just doing videos on YouTube, and everybody seems to be looking at their phones, caring for anyone else, just looking at their phones or doing something silly to show up for YouTube, social. It seems so empty, so much money around, but so empty of, I don't know, life, real self.
Yeah. And that's something that I've always loved about my Latin background. I may not speak the language yet, but I did the 23andMe DNA test, and I have Basque, Spaniard, I think Portuguese in my blood. I mean, if you look at the map, it shows my family has clearly been all around the world.
Did you do that
Uh,
thing that you spit in the pot and send the sample?
yes,
That's cool.
yes. I also did it ancestry.com, which is another one just to compare the two. And so there is a lot of European blood in me, and also a lot of native Indian blood in me, almost 30%, which is interesting. Because I've always felt the way American Indians, or even Indians from South America, Mexico, etc., they have a natural connection with nature, and their instincts are very keen. And I've always been one who can sense rain in the atmosphere. It can uh, almost feel like the wind is communicating things to me. It's very special to think about how other people looked at the world we live in. And yeah, I'm really glad that I got to spend time in Los Angeles, because by spending time with people, circumstances, conditions that you don't like, all that's showing you is more of what you do like. And wherever you are right now in life is just a board that's there to for you to jump into any future you want. This has already happened, but when you keep your eye on what's coming, uh, that then this doesn't matter. This is, you know, that whatever you're looking at in your life, it's only the jumping off point to something amazing to come into your world. And it happens every day. The fact that I have air in my lungs, the fact that I have health, the fact that in COVID I'm COVID free, and I even took the vaccine even though I didn't want to. But just to, and I didn't have reactions. There's so many things that I'm blessed with every day. I have running water. I don't have to go out to a well to bring it. I can shower indoors. These things may not seem like big deals, but when you count all of the things that are working for you, instead of complaining about all the things that you think are missing, your world just changes. Mm-hmm. And so one of the best English words you can ever learn is gratitude. It comes from the word grateful. When you start being grateful for the things you already have, it's almost like it sends out a signal to the universe that says, okay, let's give you more reasons to be thankful for. But if you start complaining, guess what? The universe says, okay, let's give you more reasons to complain about. So really, it's all up to us. And that's been a huge moment for me, is I'm the one who is the master of my happiness and my misery. And so when I think about it in that way, I don't let anybody throw me off my happiness. And if they do, I know that whatever reaction I'm having from them has nothing to do with them. It's me. And I can choose to think and react differently. So I love talking about this stuff. I grew up watching videos since I was a little boy of a gentleman named Joseph Campbell, who was a storyteller and taught mythology. That's the study of global religions and the symbols that show up in religion. And he taught it for 38 years at a university in New York. And that's what I fell in love with storytelling, because this person felt like a grandfather to me on these videos. His voice was deep and calming, and everything he was saying I didn't understand yet, but I felt like there's something here that's going to benefit me. And when it finally breaks through,
deep,
yeah,
calming, and you're a great storyteller.
Yeah. So find somebody who you want to imitate, whose life you want your life to look like, and you'll start seeing how things shift. Nobody has the golden ticket and has all the right answers. We are all better like a soup. When you put more ingredients in the soup, they all harmonize, and it creates something better than the one ingredient on its own can. And you're a wonderful chef, I think, and a wonderful baker. So all the ingredients that you've put together to create your cakes, wonderful.
Thank you.
And by the way, I did reserve a whole hour for you. So we
Okay.
have 10 minutes to go, but I've been very grateful for this experience. It's so wonderful seeing all the comments we're having and all the people who've come to join this. It's amazing.
It is, and we are bringing people from different part of the world. I have few different people from, I think, from Saudi Arabia as well, from Turkey. It's
Wow.
many different people in one place, and
Yeah.
I love so much. That's what I love so much about living here in Ireland. You can meet so many different people from everywhere, and traveling. It's I love that connection as well with different cultures and different people. Seeing what other people thinks about one subject that you might think totally different, and the way you can see things differently because you're raised in a different way, and connect with people even if you think differently. I love that. And what you said about being thankful, I completely agree with you. It's just good for yourself when you're thankful for all the small things, the air that you're breathing, the next morning that you're waking up and with air in your lungs, like I said. And every little small thing that sometimes we don't really pay attention to them because we have them every day. Like we have food every day, we have a place to sleep, but so many people don't have food on their plate every day. They don't have place to sleep. And when we think about that, so many people are suffering so much around the world. And that's when you see you have to be thankful and things start to that's it's what you said, things start to get better for yourself when you think
Yeah.
you have more to be thankful for.
Yes.
If you have more stories to tell, feel free. If you have reserved an hour, I have the time. I'm going nowhere tonight, so I have the time.
Oh, gosh. Well, let's see. What am I doing lately? I've had the opportunity to travel to Hawaii. Is made up of 7 islands. I believe it's seven. There's the Big Island of, well, it's literally called the Big Island. Um, there is Maui. There is Oahu. There is Lanai. There is Molokai. There is Niihau. And I think there's one more. Um, and I've been to all of them. And one of them's even forbidden because it's a colony where lepers live, and leprosy is a disease that no longer exists. But in Hawaii, it was a disease that a lot of native Hawaiians got by the Americans who came in and brought diseases that their immune system could not fight off.
Mhm.
And so it's a terrible disease and it disfigures people. But there were nuns that came out to this island and priests and helped these people. And now I think there's still 13 people with leprosy there, but they have their own community. They have access to healthcare, and and it's it's really special to see an island that's almost untouched by man. That you won't find any skyscrapers, any tall buildings. There's a lot of deer and a lot of wildlife, and it's incredible. And the Big Island, which is really big, uh, it has the volcanoes that recently erupted, and it's just amazing to see how these islands formed from volcano coming from under the seafloor, pushing its way to the surface, and appearing above water. And
And
then yeah, and then each of these islands had a volcano on it that would spew more volcano and rock and make the island bigger and bigger and bigger. So every island has almost like a different personality, but I'm literally in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and if you look at the map of Hawaii, there's nothing around you. um, and for me, some people, they call it island fever. Some people get uncomfortable with the idea of being on an island, I could drive around this whole island in about 4.5 hours. So, but at the same time, I feel wonderful here. There's something special about the water that's always moving around the islands, and the culture, the Hawaiian culture, that is so loving, that is so giving. Um, it's really incredible to be here, and I learn more and more about how to be a kinder person by the locals here that really know how to live the Aloha spirit.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alex. You are part, and you were for a while, and you still are part of my ohana. So thank you so much for being part of that as well. You're a special person. Thanks so much for being here today, for sharing your stories. Um, what else? I like to hear. I don't like to talk much. I love listening to stories.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd like to take some time to even teach you, not teach you, share a story. Um, let's see what that. God, there's so many, but for you in particular, I know you're trying to learn to drive, and I and
That's a
I
battle.
yeah, but I'm
It
so
has been going on for 2 years or more, even.
that's one. But you're farther along than when I first met you, and I'm really proud every time I hear that you do that. Um, so one of my stories was sharing Christmas at your house, and do y'all still have Beethoven?
No.
Okay, well, at the time there was a wonderful dog that you had, and he was wonderful to me. And Diane actually took this picture. I think you could find it on my Instagram, of Beethoven, this dog, and I in front of their Christmas tree, and he looked so happy, and I looked so happy, and on the because on the other side of that camera, there's Diane, there's her husband, there's her parents, there's her boy, and there's just on Christmas, I was not alone, and I had this family, and we had a beautiful meal, and yeah, that those memories stay with me forever. So uh, you've given me so many wonderful compliments, and I feel the same sense of love and sincerity for you. And I'm very proud of what you're doing here. When I started seeing you teaching English and making these videos, and not only making the videos, but being funny and human and relatable, I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, so keep that up, and I see good things for all of you in your near future, especially since we know one another. Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How to
and
say
thank you.
in Hawaiian? I think you taught me that before, but I forgot. How to say thank you in Hawaiian?
Mahalo.
Mahalo, yeah, mahalo.
Hmm.
Mahalo. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your stories. We were very happy to have you at the time. I remember that you mentioned when we had the fire on that reminded your home for you, because you used to have the fire on at night in Texas.
Yeah.
No, not in Texas.
Yes.
Was
Yeah,
it?
in Texas, I grew up with a fireplace.
Even though Texas is very hot.
Yeah. Well, in the winter, it can be cold to what Texans call cold. So, so if it gets like to, let me try and translate it to Celsius, like 20 degrees Celsius, I think
Yeah,
maybe
that's
that's,
where I'm from as well.
yeah.
Okay.
um, one last thing about every time I start my videos, for anybody who sees it, I always start off by saying aloha, and I do this, which is called the shaka.
Mhm.
And there's several stories as to how this hand gesture came about, but my favorite one is there's a pineapple company here called Dole. They are no longer here, but they at one time they grew all their pineapples here, and one of the workers would always wave goodbye to everyone that was leaving work for the day. Well, he worked with these sharp knives, and one day, by total accident, he cut off his 3 middle fingers. But being who he was, after he was stitched up, he was out there at the end of the day waving goodbye to everyone. and so that just reminds me of, no matter what happens to you, you're still sending good intentions. You're still sending somebody off with a goodbye, with good coming your way. So for the people who have tuned in and have stayed with us, and everybody who's going to watch this, I'm so glad to welcome you as part of our Ohana, and aloha.
Thank you so much. Aloha, everyone, as well from me. Thank you so much, Alex. Hope we can have another chat soon.
Indeed.
It was very good, and you have so many stories to tell that I think we can have a few lives.
Yeah, let's do this again if it helps in any way. I'm happy to be of service.
It is. I think you helped so much today, because it's so easy to understand your accent, and your voice so calming, and you speak slowly, and so easy for anyone to understand. So I'm sure it did help a lot of people watching here today.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Have a great Friday. Enjoy your day. Have a great weekend. Everyone that is watching us, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Enjoy your weekend, everyone, and see you next time.
And aloha.
Aloha. Ciao.